If you're one of the, wow, millions of people looking to maybe decouple your income from your physical location,
Right.
whether that's setting up a permanent home office or, earning a living while you're moving around freely, then this is definitely the deep dive designed for you.
Absolutely. And we're really trying to cut through all the noise today
Hmm.
because the internet is just flooded with those get-rich-quick things.
Well, everywhere.
But we're digging into source material that details 10, let's say, proven and realistic ways people are earning a sustainable living online
That's
right now.
exactly.
So our mission is to break down the mechanics, the platforms involved, and I think crucially, the actual effort required for each one.
Yeah, the effort part is key. We really need to know what separates, the hobbyists from the people making a full-time go of it online.
Right.
What tools should you actually be looking at? What are those tactical decisions that, drive profit?
And across all 10 paths we looked at in the research, there's this core requirement for success that just kept popping up.
Okay.
It's not just having a skill. It's really that combination of applying the skill consistently, like with dedication, and then having that strategic adaptation piece.
Adaptation. You mean like keeping up with changes?
Exactly. You needed to navigate how fast the digital marketplace evolves. That ability to adapt, that's often the real differentiator.
That makes sense.
Whether you decide to start by, say, selling your time directly, or maybe you jump straight into building some kind of leveraged digital asset if you aren't consistent, or if you just refuse to learn how the new platform mechanics work.
Then you're stuck.
Pretty much. The runway for actually generating income just gets dramatically shorter. These are, at the end of the day, business models. They're not lottery tickets.
Right. Good distinction. Okay, let's dive into part one.
Okay.
So let's unpack this. I think we should start where most people can probably get cash flowing the fastest, skill-based income.
Makes sense. Direct exchange.
Yeah, these first four methods, they really rely directly on taking a skill you already have or maybe learning a new one that's in high demand and just applying it to the specific immediate needs of a client.
You're basically converting expertise and, well, your time directly into cash.
Exactly. Time for money. So first up, freelancing. It always comes up first, doesn't it? It seems to remain one of the sort of lowest barrier ways to start earning online. Our sources describe it less like a traditional job and more like getting immediate access to this huge global marketplace for services. What makes it such an immediate entry point? And maybe more importantly, what skill niches are really hot right now?
Well, what's fascinating, I think, is how the marketplace itself has kind of democratized access. It's stripped away the need for, traditional gatekeepers like recruiters or local agencies.
There's no middleman in the same way.
Yeah, sites like Upwork, Fiverr, Freelancer, they provide that immediate connection. But, and this is a big but, the freelancers who are really succeeding today, they're hyper-specialized.
Okay, so not just I'm a writer or I'm a designer.
Not anymore, really. We're moving beyond those generic labels. The sources point to massive demand in really specific areas. Things like specialized SaaS content writing,
Yeah.
software as a service,
Yeah.
or technical copywriting, especially for B2B applications, and even some really novel skills like AI prompt engineering.
AI prompt engineering. Explain that a bit.
Sure. If you can write the perfect command, the perfect prompt for a large language model like ChatGPT to produce really high-quality output consistently, businesses will pay a premium for that efficiency boost.
Wow, okay.
So it isn't just about having a skill. It's increasingly about having a rare or a highly targeted skill.
That immediately brings up the pricing question, doesn't it?
Always.
Our sources emphasize you need skill, consistency, great communication. But how does a beginner handle pricing when they're competing globally? I mean, Upwork, for instance, it's kind of notorious for being super price sensitive at the entry level.
Yeah, that's definitely the primary friction point. Beginners often fall into that trap of just competing on price.
Undercutting everyone.
Exactly. And that just leads to burnout fast. The best scaling strategy that came out of the material is to view your initial, maybe lower rate projects, not just as income. Think of them as investments in your reputation.
Okay, like building capital.
Precisely. Social capital, really. You need to strategically choose small projects to let you quickly stack up those 5-star reviews. Because those reviews, that's your social proof. It's the currency that allows you to transition away from hourly rates.
Which penalize you for being faster.
Right. Totally. They penalize efficiency.
Yeah.
So you want to move towards project-based pricing.
So project pricing is really the goal here.
It absolutely should be. Once you have a solid bank of positive feedback, you switch your proposals to fixed rate for the whole project.
And that changes the whole conversation.
It changes the dynamic completely. You're no longer selling your time. You're selling the solution, the value of the outcome. A strong portfolio, combined with excellent communication about the project scope and what the client can expect, that lets you command professional rates.
Gotcha.
And that turns that initial hustle into a much more robust, sustainable income stream, often far quicker than just staying stuck on that hourly clock.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Build the proof, then raise the rates based on value.
Now, if that whole uncertainty of finding clients, the hustle of building a freelance rep, if that sounds kind of draining.
Which it can be, let's be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Then the second path offers, I think, a perfect counterbalance. Just finding a legitimate, structured remote job.
This is such a crucial distinction. It often gets lost in the general make money online hype, doesn't it?
It really does.
You don't have to be an entrepreneur. So many established companies, from tech giants down to specialized consulting firms, they have really mature remote work policies now, and they are desperate for good, full-time, structured employees.
That's exactly right. This path gives you the stability, the defined working hours, often the benefits package, stuff many people really miss when they go freelance.
Yeah, health insurance, retirement plans.
All that. And the sources highlight that the jobs aren't just limited to like high-tech programming roles either. We see massive demand for remote customer success managers, highly specialized content strategists, graphic designers who are really good with specific industry software.
So a wide range of roles.
A huge range.
And the platforms for actually finding these roles, they're incredibly sophisticated now, too. We're talking dedicated sites like Remote, okay, we work remotely, or even specific niche job boards for certain industries.
Yep.
But applying for a remote job, it's not quite the same as applying for a local one down the street, is it? What strategic advice did the sources give for getting past that initial digital screening? The robots reading your resume.
Yes. The applicant tracking system, the ATS, that's a big hurdle.
The gatekeeper.
Definitely. When you apply online, your resume is often first read by a machine, not a person. So the material really stresses how important it is to tailor your resume for every single application.
Every single one. Wow.
You need to mirror the exact keywords used in that specific job description. That's how you pass the initial digital sieve. You could have a brilliant resume, beautifully designed, but it might just be invisible if the ATS can't parse it correctly.
So it's almost like SEO for your resume?
That's a great way to put it. Success here is often about technical compliance first, and then your talent gets seen second.
That's super practical advice. Okay, so let's look at the trade-off again. How did our sources compare the, say, stability of a remote job versus the ultimate scaling potential of building a freelance business?
It's a classic trade-off, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
A remote job, it generally provides a ceiling on your income, your salary, basically, but it offers an immensely sturdy floor underneath you.
Security and structure.
Exactly. Freelancing, on the other hand, has a very, very unstable floor, especially when you're starting out. But it has a virtually unlimited ceiling, particularly if you manage to successfully transition into hiring subcontractors or maybe even building a small agency around your skills.
Different personalities suit different paths.
Totally. The person who thrives in a remote job probably values routine, reliable cash flow, and having those defined boundaries between work and life.
9 to 5, then switch off.
Kind of. Whereas the freelancer, they embrace the risk, hoping for that potential of outsized reward. Both paths leverage the internet for geographical freedom, obviously, but their operational mindsets, how they approach work, fundamentally different.
Yeah, good summary. Risk versus security. Okay, moving on to path number 3, content writing and blogging. I like this one because it feels like a dual-track approach.
How so?
Well, you can sell the writing immediately to clients for cash flow, right? Ghostwriting, web copy, that sort of thing.
Right, direct service.
But the real leverage, it seems, comes from building that independent asset, your own blog or platform.
I see. Yeah. The initial phase is definitely selling your service.
Yeah.
Maybe white papers, web copy, articles for businesses. That's your immediate cash flow generator.
Gets the bills paid.
Exactly. But the truly strategic move, as you said, is using that writing skill to build your own domain asset. Launching a blog, using a scalable platform like WordPress, that's sort of the operational foundation. But the real complexity that lies in driving traffic consistently.
Right. And our sources really hammer this point. Consistent posting and critically robust SEO knowledge, search engine optimization.
Crucial.
We need to go beyond just calling SEO the secret sauce, though. What does an effective SEO strategy actually look like for a brand new blogger who's trying to attract readers and ultimately make money 24/7 from their site?
Okay, yeah, good question. Effective SEO For a completely new site, it really centers on two pillars:
Yeah.
authority and intent.
Authority intent. Okay.
Since a new site obviously lacks the domain authority of, like, a major established publication, you have to focus your efforts on long-tail keywords.
Long tail, meaning longer, more specific phrases.
Exactly. Highly specific, maybe 3 to 5 word phrases. These represent search queries that usually have lower competition.
Right.
So, for example, instead of trying to rank for just best coffee, which is impossible for a new site,
Way too competitive.
you might target something like best single cup pour-over technique for beginners. Much more specific.
Okay, so you're deliberately targeting lower volume searches, but the people searching are much more likely to be interested in exactly what you offer, high intent.
Precisely. That brings in highly relevant readers, people who are ready to really consume your content or maybe even buy a related product you recommend.
And the second pillar was authority.
Right. And related to that, the sources emphasize the concept of pillar content. You create these really comprehensive, authoritative articles on your core topics. Those are your pillars.
Like foundational guides.
Exactly. And then you write smaller, more specific articles, call them clusters, that all link back to that main pillar page.
Yeah.
This structured internal linking, it signals to search engines like Google that you are the authoritative source on that broader topic.
So it's architectural.
Very much so. And this is how consistency pays off over time. Each new related article you publish actually strengthens the perceived authority of the existing ones, especially the pillar.
That complexity really shows the true effort involved, doesn't it? It's not just about writing well, it's understanding the whole architecture of how information gets delivered and found online.
Absolutely.
So how does the monetization runway look for this path? Is it quick, like freelancing?
Definitely not. It's long. Unlike that immediate freelance income, building a truly successful blog asset, it usually takes, realistically, maybe 12 to 24 months before you start seeing significant passive income streams.
A year or two. Wow.
Yeah. Things like display ads, selling your own digital products later on, or maybe high-value affiliate marketing. Those take time to build up the traffic needed. You are essentially investing your time up front into building an asset.
But once it's established.
Well, once it's established, it still requires maintenance, of course, but it can deliver continuous income long after you did the initial writing. It's probably the highest leverage writing strategy there is, but only if you have the patience for that long ramp-up period.
Patience and persistence.
Got it.
Okay, our fourth skill-based path is social media management. And our sources were really strong on this one. They didn't just say businesses are interested in social media managers. They said they're truly desperate for them. Why such acute demand?
Well, the desperation, I think, it stems directly from the potential return on investment, the ROI.
Okay.
Most business owners, especially smaller ones, they know they probably must have a presence on platforms like Instagram, Facebook, maybe TikTok now, but they often lack the time or the specific platform knowledge.
Or just the consistency, right?
Right.
Posting every day.
Exactly. The consistency required to actually turn social media from just a presence into a real revenue-generating channel. They need someone who actually understands the constant algorithm changes, the shift from static images to short-form video, and crucially, how to genuinely engage with the community, not just broadcast ads.
So it sounds like a blend of creative content creation, but also strategic marketing analysis.
It absolutely is.
What are the core skills, then, that allow someone to charge premium prices in this field? Is it just making pretty pictures?
Definitely not just pretty pictures anymore. Beyond creating visually appealing content, the premium skills really involve sophisticated platform analytics.
Data.
Yes, data. A high-value social media manager needs to be able to track conversion rates from social clicks, measure audience retention on videos, understand how to A/B test different types of posts or ad creatives, and, crucially, understand paid advertising strategy on these platforms.
Paid ads are key.
Often, yes. You need to be able to confidently go to a client and say, look, we spent $1,000 on Facebook ads this month, and based on our tracking, we generated $4,000 in traceable revenue directly from those campaigns.
That definitely shifts the conversation. You're not just a cost center. You're proving you're a profit driver.
Exactly. That's the goal.
So how does a beginner scale? How do you go from, say, managing one small local business page to handling multiple brands for a significant monthly retainer fee?
The scaling strategy here is almost purely iterative and completely results-based. You start small, maybe offer your services to a small, relatively non-demanding local business, perhaps a local dentist, a bakery, a consultant, you know.
Your foot in the door.
Right. You use that first small client to develop and refine a proven system. Things like a content calendar template, specific engagement tactics that work for their audience, and really clear reporting metrics that show progress.
Build a case study.
Precisely. Once you have documented success, even if it's just modest growth in followers or engagement for that first client, you leverage that single case study to acquire your second, maybe slightly larger or higher paying client.
And then repeat.
This can actually scale quite quickly into more of an agency model where maybe you're managing multiple brands, potentially bringing on subcontractors to handle some of the day-to-day posting, which allows you, the manager, to focus solely on higher level strategy and client relationships. That's how you get to substantial monthly income.
Okay, methodical growth based on proof. Makes sense. Let's take a short break and then we'll dive into part 2.
All right, so we've spent a good chunk of time on skill-based income, which, as we said, can be in cash fast, but it often leads to burnout because you're constantly, selling your time.
Yeah, that direct time for money trade has a limit.
It does. So now we make a strategic shift. Part 2 is all about creating digital assets or systems, things you essentially build once, and they have the potential to generate income more passively, or at least through powerful leverage over time.
Right. This is where the dream of scalable, non-linear income really starts to take shape. We're moving away from just selling hours.
Exactly. This is kind of the intellectual property section, if you will. You're trading more upfront effort, potentially, for those longer-term compounding returns.
Okay, let's get into it. First up in this category.
Selling digital products.
Okay.
This is often held up as like the holy grail of passive income, isn't it?
It definitely gets talked about that way.
And the core benefit is immense leverage. You create, say, a detailed ebook, or maybe a comprehensive online course, or even just a specialized printable planner template.
Yeah.
You create it once.
Right.
And the internet allows you to sell infinitely duplicated copies of it, potentially forever, with very little marginal cost per sale.
Okay, that sounds incredibly appealing, almost too simple. Our sources definitely implied that the passive label might be a little bit misleading.
Huh. Yeah, passive is maybe aspirational.
Mm-hmm.
The creation part is leverage, yes.
Yeah.
But what's the, let's call it the dirty secret about the non-passive effort that's still required?
What is it?
Well, the creation is that upfront linear effort.
Mm-hmm.
But the sales and marketing, that's perpetual effort.
Oh, okay. You still have to sell it.
Constantly. The income hinges not just on turning your knowledge into a neat product, but on ensuring that product solves a real, maybe even painful problem for a specific niche audience. And that requires very non-passive work in product validation.
Product validation, meaning testing the idea first.
Exactly. Before you spend, say, 100 hours building out a complex online course, you absolutely must run surveys, maybe try to pre-sell the concept to your audience, or offer a much smaller minimum viable product, an MVP, just to gauge the actual market demand.
And maybe test different price points, too.
Yes. A/B test pricing, landing pages, everything. That validation process is what really separates these successful digital product sellers from the ones who have, virtual dust gathering on the digital shelves.
Okay, so upfront validation is key. What about the distribution side? How accessible are the tools for a beginner who maybe isn't super technically minded? Can they actually set up a shop easily?
Oh, hugely accessible now. Platforms have really commoditized the whole sales process. It's amazing.
Like what?
Well, Gumroad is fantastic for simple digital files. Think ebooks, templates, maybe some audio files. It handles the payment processing and the file delivery seamlessly for a small cut.
Okay.
Etsy can be great too, especially for specialized niches like printable planners or digital art downloads. And then for more complex learning materials like video courses, platforms like Teachable or Kajabi are built specifically for that. They handle video hosting, structuring the course, payment gateways, everything.
So the tech isn't the barrier it used to be.
Not at all. The modern digital entrepreneur really only needs to focus on creating great content and then engaging with their potential audience. The technical plumbing, essentially, is handled by these platforms for a relatively small commission or fee.
So the prerequisite is packaging your existing expertise into something valuable that solves a problem.
Yes.
But the ongoing work is consistently driving traffic to those platform listings, which I guess often means pairing digital products with our next method. Affiliate marketing. Conceptually, super simple, right? You get paid a commission every time you recommend a product or service, and someone buys it using your special tracking links.
Simple concept, yes.
But as we kind of hinted at, its success seems to hinge entirely on this non-technical asset, trust.
Absolutely. Trust is the currency here.
So how do successful affiliate marketers actually build and then monetize that trust effectively?
Trust is built primarily through authenticity and transparency, which is exactly why this strategy works best when it's integrated naturally into an existing content channel, like a blog you've been writing for a while, or a YouTube channel, maybe a specialized email newsletter.
Somewhere you already have an audience that knows you.
Exactly. The sources are really clear on this. The moment your audience even senses that you might be prioritizing the commission over genuinely providing value or an honest recommendation.
The trust is gone.
Instantly. And the entire model collapses because that trust is the currency. It erodes immediately.
Okay, authenticity is paramount. The mechanism itself, using that special link to track purchases, that seems straightforward. But what's the strategic difference between promoting, say, a low payout affiliate product versus a high payout one? Does it matter much?
Oh, it matters hugely for scaling your income efficiently. This is critical. Many beginner affiliates, they tend to focus on physical consumer goods, maybe through programs like Amazon Associates.
Yeah, recommending books or gadgets.
Right, but those typically yield really low commissions, often in the low single-digit percentages, which is great if you have massive volume, but it's terrible for efficiency if you don't.
Right, you need tons of sales.
Exactly.
Yeah.
High payout affiliates, the savvier ones, they tend to focus on digital products, specialized software, especially SaaS, with recurring commissions or online courses. In these areas, commissions can often range from 20% up to 50%, sometimes even higher.
Wow, big difference.
Huge. It means you need significantly fewer sales to generate a meaningful income. So the strategy shifts. It's less about maximizing raw clicks and more about maximizing the conversion rate for a few carefully chosen high-value recommendations to an audience that trusts you.
Quality over quantity.
Precisely.
And since we were talking about recommendations and commercial transactions here, what about compliance, disclosure? Do the sources mention the legal necessity of telling your audience you get paid?
They do, absolutely. The material implicitly and sometimes explicitly emphasizes transparency. And in practical terms, that means clear and conspicuous disclosure.
You have to tell people.
Yes. In most major jurisdictions, including the U.S. under FTC guidelines, you absolutely must clearly inform your audience that you might receive a commission if they purchase through your link. But here's the interesting thing. This isn't just a legal hoop to jump through. It's actually another trust-building mechanism. When you disclose the relationship up front, it can actually reinforce the audience's belief in your genuine endorsement, assuming the recommendation itself is solid and makes sense coming from you.
So being upfront can actually help.
It often does. You're basically saying, hey, full transparency. I use this. I genuinely think it's great. And yes, if you decide to buy it through my link, I get a small kickback. People respect that honesty.
Okay, interesting. Honesty pays, literally.
All right, next up, the YouTube channel. This often gets mistakenly viewed purely as just an influencer platform,
Yeah, people think of personalities more than businesses sometimes.
Right. But our sources correctly define it as a potentially powerful business machine, one that's capable of generating multiple compounding revenue streams over time, if you execute a consistent content strategy.
And that compounding element feels really key here. But let's start at the beginning. What are the specific hurdles, the operational thresholds you need to cross just to activate that primary revenue stream that adds YouTube shows on your videos?
Okay, the initial hurdle, and this is the one that typically filters out most casual attempts, is meeting the YouTube Partner Program criteria.
The YPP.
Yep. As of now, you generally need to accumulate 4,000 valid public watch hours within the last 12 months.
4,000 hours watched.
Watched, not views, watch hours. And you also need to hit 1,000 subscribers on your channel.
Okay, those are specific targets.
Very specific. And
Yeah.
until you meet both of those metrics, your channel generates exactly zero ad revenue. Zilch.
Wow.
Which is precisely why consistency, especially in that first year, is so vital. And also why your topic selection matters so much. You really need to pick something you're genuinely passionate about, but also something that has some evergreen search demand so people are still looking for it months or years later.
Makes sense. You need the staying power to hit those numbers. Okay, so let's say you clear those hurdles. The baseline ad revenue starts trickling in. How do the sources detail successfully layering on those other major income streams, like sponsorships, affiliate links, and selling merchandise?
They really form a kind of synergistic system, ideally. The ad revenue provides that stable, maybe lower-end income that's based purely on viewer volume. Predictable, but maybe not huge per view.
Right.
Then, as your audience grows and maybe becomes more specialized around your niche, sponsors start to notice. They might reach out offering high-value lump sums or maybe monthly retainers to integrate their product or service naturally into your content.
But they want more than just views, presumably.
Oh yeah, sponsors often require demonstrable audience engagement metrics, things like like-to-dislike ratios, comments, maybe audience demographics beyond just the raw view count. They want to know the audience is real and cares.
Okay, and affiliates.
Third, affiliate links tie right back to our previous point. If you review a product, maybe a piece of tech, travel gear, fitness equipment, whatever fits your niche, you integrate your tracking link in the video description below. That captures additional revenue from viewers who decide to buy based on your recommendation.
So multiple streams working together, and the final piece was merch. Selling your own stuff.
Yeah, merch is almost pure audience loyalty monetization. It helps transform your channel from just content into more of a branded identity.
Like t-shirts, mugs.
Exactly. Selling branded physical goods like t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, maybe niche accessories related to your content. It actually requires pretty minimal logistical effort these days. Most YouTubers use platform integrations like Teespring or similar services that automate the storefront, the printing, and the order fulfillment.
So you don't handle inventory.
Nope. The strategy for growth, though, across all of these streams, ads, sponsors, affiliates, merch, it really revolves around understanding what the YouTube algorithm itself prioritizes. Maximizing viewer session time.
Session time, meaning keeping people on YouTube longer.
Exactly. You need viewers to click on your video, watch a good chunk of it, and then ideally stay on YouTube watching more of your content, or at least related content. That's achieved through consistent quality, good video structure, and strong calls to action encouraging viewers to watch next or subscribe. Keep on watching.
Keep them watching. Okay, fascinating how it all ties into the platform's goals. Okay, so we've covered that immediate skill trading in part 1, and then the longer-term leveraged content assets in part 2. Now, let's pivot into 2 really specialized and apparently rapidly growing areas. E-commerce models that cleverly bypass traditional inventory headaches, and then the massive accelerating wave of digital education.
Yeah, these next models really demonstrate how technology has dramatically lowered, or in some cases completely removed, the huge capital barriers that used to be associated with selling physical goods or setting up any kind of educational institution.
Less upfront cash needed. Let's look at the first e-commerce one, drop shipping. This is a really fascinating model, I think, mainly because its defining feature is that operational simplicity, at least on the surface, running an entire online store without ever actually holding a single piece of inventory yourself.
Right. No garage full of boxes.
Exactly. Can you walk us through the basic workflow, and how does the technology make this relatively rapid setup possible?
Sure. The technological integration is actually pretty seamless these days, largely thanks to platforms like Shopify. Shopify provides a really robust online storefront, easy setup.
Okay.
And then it has integrated apps or connections that link your Shopify store directly to global suppliers. Often these are located in Asia, maybe accessed via services connected to AliExpress or through more specialized sourcing agents if you get bigger.
So the store talks to the supplier directly.
Basically, yeah. The workflow goes like this. A customer finds your website, likes a product, and places an order on your Shopify site. Your store then automatically sends those order details, what they bought, where to ship it directly to the supplier you've partnered with.
And you never touch the product.
Never. The supplier then packages and ships the product directly to the customer, often with your store's branding on the package if you arrange that. The entrepreneur, the store owner, you simply capture the difference between the retail price the customer paid and the wholesale price the supplier charged you, minus, of course, marketing costs and transaction fees.
Okay, that sounds almost too good to be true, which usually suggests the primary difficulty must lie somewhere else.
Bingo.
Our sources definitely noted that success here requires immense effort, particularly in finding those trending products and then mastering effective marketing. So what's the biggest operational friction point? What do beginners often underestimate about dropshipping?
Customer service and managing the supply chain, those are the hidden dangers, for sure, because you don't control the warehouse or the shipping process directly. That means delivery times can sometimes be slow or inconsistent, especially if you're sourcing from overseas. And that can lead to immense customer frustration, chargebacks, negative reviews. It can kill your store fast.
Okay, so managing expectations is key.
Hugely. But the real challenge, the thing that makes or breaks most dropshipping stores, is mastering digital advertising. You basically trade the headache of inventory management for the intense, constant work of digital marketing, usually using paid ads on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or increasingly TikTok.
So if my dropshipping store isn't succeeding, it's probably not the website setup itself. It's more likely my ad campaigns aren't working efficiently.
9 times out of 10, yes.
Yeah.
Precisely. You have to master the art of identifying a winning product, something that's maybe a bit novel, has a good profit margin, and ideally solves some minor annoyance for the customer, and then you have to get ruthlessly efficient at targeting the exact right audience through relentless ad testing and scaling.
It sounds like a marketing game more than a product game.
It really is. Drop shipping is fundamentally an arbitrage model. You're betting you can acquire a customer for less than the profit margin on the product. And that arbitrage is driven almost entirely by the efficiency of your marketing funnel. It is definitely not passive. It's highly demanding digital sales work.
Gotcha. Good clarification, not passive at all.
Okay, moving to print on demand, or POD. It's another really high-leverage e-commerce model. And it's ideal, I think, for anyone who has more of a creative sense or maybe proficiency in graphic design software.
So for the artsy types.
Could be, yeah. It cleverly removes both the sourcing risks you sometimes see with dropshipping and the massive capital you'd traditionally laid for buying bulk physical inventory, like printing 500 t-shirts up front.
Right. The beauty here seems to be that you're basically selling the idea, the design, and the technology handles all the physical creation and shipping. Can you explain that automated process that makes it so beginner-friendly?
Yeah, the automation is really the genius of POD. The designer, the creative person, they just create a digital graphic file. Could be a witty slogan, a cool piece of abstract art, anything.
Okay.
They then upload that single design file to a POD platform partner. Now, these partners fall into two main types. Some are marketplaces themselves, like Redbubble or Merch by Amazon, where they handle all the traffic generation.
Right.
Others are fulfillment services, like Printful or Printify, which integrate directly with your own online store, maybe one you built on Shopify or Etsy.
Okay. Different models. But the process?
The process is similar. When a customer, browsing either the marketplace or your own store, decides to buy a physical product featuring your design, let's say a mug or a hoodie or a phone case, the POD platform automatically prints your design onto that blank item.
Only when it's ordered?
Only when it's ordered, one at a time. They also process the payment from the customer, handle all the packaging, and ship it directly to the buyer. You, the designer, just collect your share of the profit, the royalty, for providing the design.
So you literally earn profit based purely on the value of your intellectual property, the design itself, without ever touching packing tape, worrying about inventory levels, or going to the post office.
Exactly. That's a huge reduction in the logistical friction compared to traditional retail.
It really is. But if the barrier to entry is that low, it must mean the space is pretty crowded, right?
Oh, incredibly crowded.
So what's the key strategic requirement, then, for actually standing out and making decent money with POD?
Two things, really. Niche specialization and absolutely professional presentation.
Okay, niche down again.
Yes. Because the barrier to entry is so low, design saturation is incredibly high, especially for generic stuff like funny cat shirts. Successful POD entrepreneurs almost always dominate very specific micro-niches.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, maybe designs related only to obscure characters from 1980s fantasy novels, or hyper-specific regional humor that only people from, say, Portland, Maine would get. Really drill down.
Find your tiny tribe.
Exactly. And the second part, presentation, is just as crucial. The quality of your mock-ups, those digital images that show your design on the actual product, like a person wearing the t-shirt, they have to look professional and appealing.
Right.
Because that mock-up is often the only representation the customer sees before they decide to buy.
Right. They can't touch the product.
Nope. So success in POD, I'd say it's maybe 50% design creativity and 50% nailing the presentation and targeting that very specific niche audience.
Okay. Niche and polish. Got it. All right. Our final path, number 10, takes us back towards leveraging knowledge, but in a more structured, person-to-person and clearly high-demand environment, online tutoring. The context here, according to our sources, is that digital education isn't just some temporary pandemic trend. It's a fundamental institutional shift.
It really is. In fact, it was flagged as possibly the fastest growing online job sector in the material we looked at.
Wow. Fastest growing.
Seems like it. And the central appeal, I think, is the universality of valuable knowledge. If you possess genuine expertise in literally any subject, could be teaching English as a second language, ESL, which is huge.
Yeah, always in demand.
Or advanced calculus, specific programming languages like Python, standardized test prep like for the SAT or GRE,
Yeah.
even musical instruments. If you know something well, there's almost certainly global demand for one-on-one virtual instruction in it.
That flexibility in subject matter is great. And the job flexibility itself, plus the global reach, those are definitely big selling points. How do the big platforms like Preply, Cambly, maybe VIP Kid for Kids English, how do they facilitate this massive global job market? What are the operational benefits for the tutors using them?
They essentially function as global matchmakers, connecting students who need help with tutors who have the skills.
Taking care of the marketing.
Largely, yes. They handle the student acquisition, which is a huge burden lifted. They usually manage the secure payment processing across different currencies. And they typically provide standardized video conferencing tools, scheduling systems, sometimes even shared whiteboards built right into their platform.
So it simplifies the admin side tremendously.
Massively. For the tutor, it means they can generally set their own hours, often select the type or age group of students they prefer to work with, and crucially, avoid all that time-consuming administrative work involved in running a totally private tutoring practice, like billing, chasing payments, marketing yourself constantly.
Yeah, that admin stuff kills time.
It does. And many platforms also offer optional structured curriculum frameworks or materials, which can significantly reduce lesson planning time, especially for newer tutors.
Okay, that's a big plus. Now, what about qualifications? Does a tutor need specific professional accreditation, like a teaching degree, to get started on these platforms? Or can just having solid subject matter expertise be enough sometimes?
It really varies significantly, depending on the specific platform and the target market they serve.
Makes sense.
For more generalized ESL tutoring aimed at adult learners, often proven fluency in English and good communication skills are the main requirements. Maybe a short demo lesson.
Okay.
But for platforms that target, say, K-12 students in the US or UK, or those offering highly specialized STEM tutoring for university students, then yes, background checks and verifiable academic credentials or teaching certificates become much more common, often required.
So it depends on who you're teaching.
It does. However, the general trend seems to be leaning towards monetizing applied knowledge and real-world expertise rather than strictly formal academic certification for many niches. This makes online tutoring one of the most accessible paths for relatively quickly converting the intellectual capital you already possess into flexible and potentially quite reliable online income.
Accessible and in demand? Great combination. Okay, that wraps up our 10 paths. Let's synthesize this. Wow, okay, that really has been a true deep dive into the sort of operational mechanics of making a living online today. We've analyzed 10 distinct paths, and it really shows the immense breadth of opportunity out there. Everything from stable, almost traditional remote employment to fully scalable, inventory-free e-commerce businesses.
It's a huge range.
Yeah.
And the synthesis, I think, is pretty clear. The digital world has definitely lowered the barrier to entry for many of these things. Starting is easier than ever.
Yeah.
But it has not lowered the barrier to success.
Right. Easy to start, hard to succeed.
Exactly. Every single one of these paths, despite their differences, requires the same fundamental foundation. You absolutely can start small, maybe testing the waters with some low-stakes freelance work like we discussed.
Severe toe in.
Yeah. But that immediate action, it has to be coupled with an ongoing commitment to learn the platform mechanics. Whether that's mastering the ATS system to land a remote job, or really understanding long-tail keywords and pillar content for a blog, or figuring out Facebook ads for drop shipping. You have to learn the rules of the game you're playing.
The initial effort is definitely significant, isn't it? Especially when you're building those leveraged assets we talked about in part 2, like digital products or a YouTube channel. It takes time.
It takes considerable time and effort up front. But the encouraging part is that the structures are now in place to support potentially explosive growth later on. The platforms, the payment gateways, the fulfillment networks. The infrastructure is there if you can build the audience and the value.
That really is the core takeaway, isn't it? You're putting in that linear time and effort initially.
Often for little immediate reward.
Right, pushing the boulder uphill. But the rewards, if you stick with it, are designed to potentially become geometric or exponential over time, especially with those part 2 asset creation strategies.
Absolutely. The challenge, honestly, is enduring that long, often frustrating phase of consistent effort before the leverage really kicks in and starts working for you.
Yeah, the grind before the payoff.
Exactly. Yeah. Success, as we said at the start, it really never happens overnight in any of these models, but the potential compounding returns from a well-built, well-maintained digital asset. They're pretty much unmatched in most traditional business ventures.
Okay, so as you, the listener, reflect on these 10 pathways we've explored today, maybe consider this final provocative thought.
Hmm.
The journey from directly trading your time for money, like in freelancing, to generating that truly leveraged income, like from digital products. It seems fundamentally a function of discipline and consistency.
Discipline, yeah.
So the question for you is, which one of these 10 strategies, whether it's the relative security of a remote job or the creative freedom of print on demand or the long game of blogging, which one can you genuinely commit to executing with absolute consistency for, say, the next 12 months?
That's the question.
Because of that consistency, even if you apply it to the lowest barrier entry point to start, that seems to be the single most effective way to build the bridge step by step towards eventually reaching that highest leverage income stream you're aiming for.
Well said. Take what you've learned today, maybe pick one path that resonates, make a realistic plan, and just start building. Momentum is key.
Absolutely. Until next time on the deep dive, stay curious, keep learning, and keep chasing those goals.